Well, good evening. I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. Thanks so much for joining me on Carbon Matters live streaming. Just need to do a quick audio check here. Well, good evening. I'm Carbon County Commissioner. All right, there we go. We got it. I'm going to be flying solo here tonight, but first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for joining me here this evening on Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich, and for the next 45 to 60 minutes, we're going to be discussing, having a conversation about the issues that matter most to you, the residents of Carbon County. We're going to take a minute or two to start moving this around on Facebook to the different groups, and then we'll roll right into some of the softer items that have come up really in about the last 5 or 6 weeks. And then we'll roll into the heavier topics that have been occurring here in Carbon County. Now, again, I'm trying to watch the feed at the same time. So we got Kathy's on board. I see Dominic, Michael is there. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. I'm hoping to have the Cantante Futura Leyenda to join us. El Sultan de la Salsa. I know he was overseas, but I hope he can join us from Colombia, or if he's still over in Spain, he tends to check in on a regular basis. Saw Gerard is watching. Thank you so much. Again, this is Carbon Matters live streaming. Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich, and we're going to start rolling here in just about less than a minute. It's been really since the week before the primary election when we had the last chance to have a conversation. So I look forward to this opportunity. Then we'll take a little bit of a break through the summer, pick up the end of August or potentially right after Labor Day. Right now, I'm kind of focusing on the 4th week in August to be the next live streaming version of Carbon Matters. I do want to talk a little bit about a home rule announcement at the very end of the evening also. Have a big activity event occurring on the 4th of July in regards to that. So again, look forward to the conversation here tonight. So let's go ahead and start rolling about those events that matter most. And again, if you have a comment, just go ahead, post it in the Facebook comments section. I'll try to get to it. If I miss it, I will go ahead and come back and address it later this evening or tomorrow when I go back through the live streaming version of this. So we're going to start really on Memorial Day, or let me say the Memorial Day remembrance that took place down at Josiah White Park. I want to once again express sincere appreciation to Christine LeClaire, the director, our VA director in Carbon County, for the great program that she put together again this year, where we had the opportunity to recognize those who perished, lost their lives in defense of our great nation. A beautiful event in Josiah White Park, as always. The noise is always a problem because of the road traffic down there. But other than that, stellar event, some great performances, bagpipe, singing of the national anthem was beautifully done this year. So again, remembering those who served took place there at Josiah White Park as it does. The next significant event that will take place at Josiah White Park in regards to our nation commemorations will be a September 11th ceremony, and details will be following on that. So if you're just joining me, I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich, and you all know if it's a Thursday night and I'm live streaming at 8 o'clock, 2000, it's Carbon Matters live streaming. So thank you for joining me. I got to go ahead and say a special happy anniversary to my fellow veterans, Marianne and Larry. They mean the world to Maggie and I, so it's my great pleasure to wish them, they're out in Iowa now, a happy anniversary. So Mary Ann, Larry, know that we're thinking about you. We miss you and think about you guys all the time. Speaking of veteran issues, Maggie and I had a great a breakfast get together with Mike and Sarah. Most of you who are familiar with veteran issues, Valor Clinic, as I am, know Mike and Sarah. Met them a couple of years ago. They assisted with the D-Day 75th anniversary commemoration event that I hosted up at Penns Peak that provided funding to Valor Clinic, a percentage of the proceeds. Also, the proceeds went to the Boy Scout troop who assisted in Carbon Remembers D-Day 75th anniversary. That was an incredible event, or incredible to host that event and that commemoration to help Valor Clinic and their activities, and of course the Boy Scouts also. But we had a great breakfast with Mike and Sarah. We were talking about the Miracle Mile and some activities that we are going to collaborate on in the establishment or help them in the regards to advocacy. As the vice chair for the National Association of Counties Military and Services Committee, we're able to reach out to over 3,000 counties to help them gather the information they need to realize that Memorial Mile that they are leading the effort to support. So again, we know that just a couple weeks ago, Michael and Sarah hosted their run, run walk, great event down in Lehighton, right along the river there by Dunbar's. So Mike and Sarah continue to be committed to their cause, and those of us who know them well are familiar with their story and their son's a tragic suicide. And speaking of that, I saw an article, Carbon Program aims to prevent veteran suicides, and that's Carbon County's sponsoring of Together with Veterans. It's a 3-year funded program, after which that funding, if the program is to continue, will have to find other alternative funding means. We've been very fortunate to get that off the ground. Just today, we approved personnel action to hire an administrator for that program. Now that's being paid with all the funds from the grant from Together with Veterans. And the county really serves as a pass-through and an administrator for that program. But again, Christine Leclerc is on the tip of the spear as one of the board of directors of Together with Veterans. Another opportunity or another demonstration of Carbon County's commitment to helping our veterans. And I have been the last 4 weeks, I've been able to get back into Veterans Court. It has opened up a bit. This past Wednesday was the first time Veterans Court we could be in there. We were actually without a mask this past Wednesday, if I recall correctly. So it's nice to be back in Veterans Court and none of us having to wear a mask and starting to see many of those faces. Let's see, couple plans memorial marker. That was Mike and Sarah's Memorial Mile, that one. Hey, I did see in regards to Jim Thorpe, I know the mayor of Lehighton has a great program, Mayor for the Day. Really, it was a big advocate for that, and really used to push that on the Lehighton Facebook page. But Jim Thorpe, junior councilman, right? That was Connor Rogers. He was just recognized by Borough Council and the mayor for his contribution, his civil or civic duties and responsibilities as a junior councilman. I'm proud to say that Connor has also just been hired for the summer out at Mock Chunk Lake Park, MCLP, where he's going to be working with the maintenance crew. I had a chance to spend about 45 minutes with him and his colleagues talking about maintenance issues, concerns, and the way we can make any county residents visit to Mock Chunk Lake Park a more enjoyable and qualitative experience. Hi, Dawn. Hope you're doing well. Hope the recovery is doing well. I know that the ladies in your office are working extremely hard in your absence, and we do, just like I know they do, look forward first and foremost to your recovery, and then to your return to duty, fingers crossed, in August. But I know Lisa, Sam, Christine, working really hard, putting in a lot of hours to kind of not simply tread water, but continue to make progress in the HR realm. Just Dawn, for you to know, I think we're right on the verge of signing that salary agreement. I think it will go to vote as early as next week, I believe. So thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Dave. What are you doing about the veterans problem in the county? Dave, I just mentioned that we created Together and supporting the Together with Veterans program. We have Veterans Treatment Court. Those are the two major initiatives in the county in regards to veteran suicide. Residents object to noise. Again, this is the kind of the softer stuff. Interesting. For so many years, for decades, as long as I can remember, going back to the 60s, Mahoning Speedway, even here in Jim Thorpe, we can hear it across the mountain. Citizens raising concern down there in Mahoning Township about the noise associated with that. But that is a great activity. I can understand the concern with the noise, yet at the same time, we don't want to see that event activity, that part of our history in any way diminished if they can't come to some type of agreement in regards to the residents' concerns with noise. I had mentioned Mock Chunk Lake Park just a few minutes ago. We did have about 2 weekends ago when I was out. I'm out there I try to get out every Saturday and Sunday, stop out, talk to the rangers, talk to the lifeguards, see how things are going, our concessionaires out there. 2 weekends ago, I believe it was, by 10 a.m., Beltsville had closed. And don't you know, the overflow, probably within 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes even less, you start seeing that traffic coming into Mock Chunk Lake Park. So there it was actually the Sunday, right? Lake Road closed on Sunday. We do know there is a new director out there at Beltsville. He has some new ideas about how to get better control of the issues out there. A lot of residents out in that area deeply concerned about the closing of Pohopoco Drive when they close that off. It really creates a great inconvenience for the residents. And that's unfortunate, again, that we haven't been able to find a solution that, one, allows people to enjoy a safe, quality experience at Beltsville while not greatly inconveniencing the residents of that area. Michael, I'm not doing anything about the mess at Beltsville State Park. That, quite frankly, to be honest with you, that is a state primary and a municipality issue. We provided last year our concerns. We voiced them directly and very ardently with Governor Wolf. You go to C4 Commissioner Facebook page, go down to about last year, you'll see that letter of concern we sent to Governor Wolf, inviting him to visit Beltsville. But the reality is, this is a conversation between the feds, the state, and the municipality. Bear in mind, we're a voice. The Board of Commissioners is a voice for the residents. We manage county government. We don't manage the county. And if someone tells you different, they're lying to you, because that's the reality. That's what Carbon County Commissioners do. Hi, Ivana. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz. This is Carbon Matters live streaming, the 1 July version. Normally I would say, hey, give me a call at 570-503-6780. Not taking phone calls tonight. We're just doing it for the feed. But Michael, I gave that number, 570-503-6780. If you want prefer during the week, you can give me a call at that number, or you can call 570-325-3611, and we can discuss specifically, if you'd like, your concerns about Beltsville. And we can talk a little bit deeper about that, because there is a little bit more to it, but not the opportunity doesn't present itself here this evening to go further abroad on that topic. But again, it is a deep concern. And matter of fact, we have employees who live out there. So Pohopoco closures, residents complain about lake. That was the next article that pops up. So that's a continuing saga with Beltsville Lake Park. Look, charging isn't going to make a difference. People are still going to litter. They're still going to dump garbage and drink alcohol out there. It's probably enforcing. It's kind of like some of the rules when it comes to weapons, right? Arms, right? It's a matter of enforcing what's on the book. I just saw a post tonight after the article in the newspaper and the event that took place out at Beltsville about drinking and driving over the holiday weekend and enforcement. Someone made the point that, well, they're having this big event out at Beltsville about enforcement of alcohol consumption laws, yet the reality is they don't seem to be really enforcing those laws at Beltsville. All right, let's continue to move on. Car crashes in the field house. Don't know what that one was. Oh, towns get some funds to fight blight. That is great. Jim Thorpe, Lehighton, and Palmerton got $300,000. Probably a, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 blighted projects might be able to be taken down and cleared away with that funds, but that's a start. Governor Wolf did come to Lansford, I think it was about 2 years ago, and talk about his blight program. Maybe this is the first real indication of a little bit of progress there. But it's good to see that there is some funds coming in to help fight blight. Just across the river here, up on the hill, there's a home in Jim Thorpe that has been troublesome for quite a long time. So hopefully these funds will be used for that particular blight. Although the challenge is it's a double home, right? So I think that's going to be a difficult challenge with the destruction of that home. We continue to see short-term rentals being a problem in Carbon County, but fortunately, and I just see here, this is Lower Towamensing, developing and implementing the ordinances. Jim Thorpe has one. Recently, our friends out in Penn Forest Township have enacted a short-term rental ordinance. Again, provide an opportunity for residents to raise a little bit of extra money, yet not do anything that's going to destroy the quality of life for the residents who live in that community. So it's a tough and challenging balancing act for the municipal authorities. Talk about development. KSL plans to develop Blue Mountain. You know that Barb out there in Blue Mountain is really excited about KSL coming in. I think the one big initiative that we're going to see real quick is the planned hotel out there at Blue Mountain. Look forward to their investment, at KSL's investment in Blue Mountain. I started skiing in Blue Mountain, which was called Little Gap, back around 78, 79 time frame. It's amazing to see what it has developed into as a premier skiing and really all season resort in Carbon County, joining its neighbors up in Kidder Township for winter and throughout the year activities for residents and visitors alike. All right, if you're just joining me, it's Thursday, 1 July. I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. This is Carbon Matters live streaming, where I take the opportunity to discuss the issues of importance or relevance or that are in the news in regards to Carbon County. A lot of them I tend to keep on the county level, but I do go ahead and dig down some of the municipality issues, because we know that if one municipality has experienced an issue or a challenge, it's likely occurring in one of the other 22 municipalities, 23 municipalities in Carbon County. If you count the county, that would make it 24. Joan, thank you so much for joining us this evening on Carbon Matters. Jumping just across the line, I saw in the Times News, Pleasant Valley is considering an employee survey. And just as a reminder, at the first Board of Commissioners meeting of the new year in January, I made a motion that prior to the end of the year, Carbon County would conduct an employee survey, and we are moving forward with that. We had been looking at a couple companies. I think we have it narrowed down to one likely company to do an employee survey for us. I had a great conversation with them last Thursday or Friday, spent an hour talking to them about the content modifications, and importantly, the do-outs, or what the products, the deliverables would be at the end of that employee survey. So we're looking at, with that employee survey, it's very similar to others. What is the sense of the employees in regards to their work environment, their leadership, the physical infrastructure, the support they get, their benefits, sexual harassment, EO, equal opportunity. It's going to run the gambit. We also want to look at getting their opinions on telecommute, telework. How has the COVID or pandemic impacted the way that they do business? You know, what lessons learned can be applied post-pandemic to make us a more effective, more efficient provider of services to primarily the residents of Carbon County. So kudos to Pleasant Valley for considering an employee survey. I'm a big proponent of that, and I highly suspect probably within the next, we'll probably be putting up for vote on a motion, I would say sometime in August to get that started. It'd be about a 50-question survey, probably take about 2 to 3 months to get all 400 employees and do the analysis associated with that. Hey, I did see Franklin's considering a fire tax, but at the same time, they just did make a considerable donation towards a new fire truck. I think their existing fire truck is over 3 decades old. All right. Board frustrated with elections. I didn't think I was up to the election part yet. All right. Yeah, we were. Well, we continue, and that is particularly talking to the Carbon County Board of Commissioners with our colleagues throughout the 67 counties that make up the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Probably the biggest issue is when we can start pre-canvassing, right? We've had to wait so late to start the pre-canvassing that it delayed results coming out, put a lot of stress on the staff. Secondly, how late individuals are able to, put their ballots, absentee ballots, or now really the other ballots in the mail at such a late date as we saw during the pandemic, and how all of that had a ripple effect of getting them to us. Then, of course, the ability for the elections department to calculate or process those ballots. If I recall, Governor Wolf just did veto, it might have been today or yesterday, an election initiative that was put forth to his desk. Some changes are needed to our election law, of course. I think mostly, first and foremost, we need to go back to pre-COVID election laws, guidelines, and policies. And from that point, we make our adjustments moving forward. So some big wins up in Summit Hill I saw. Congratulations to Nate Hallinar up there in Summit Hill as the treasurer. Susina moving forward as a mayor candidate. I believe he's a former state police officer. And at the same time, Summit Hill is looking for a new chief of police. And just reading today or yesterday that they'll be going and doing interviews very shortly in Summit Hill. If you're just joining me, I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. This is Carbon Matters live streaming. It's Thursday, 1 July. And as you join me, I want you to know we'll be discussing for about the next 30 minutes or so the remaining issues and matters that are relevant to us as taxpayers in Carbon County, as residents in Carbon County who desire a more effective, efficient, responsive county government, right? But just more election information. There was only one contested race at the county level, and I will get to that in just a minute. Here we go. Work remains on election results. So now we're still a couple of weeks back from where we are today. One contested race, row officer race at the county level. That was the current clerk of courts, Tyra Boney, defeating for the Republican nomination her opponent. Congratulations to Tyra Boney, clerk of courts, for her winning the Republican primary and representing the party as its nominee in the general election. COVID, railroad funds accounts opened. This was a county issue about 4 weeks or so ago. As many might be aware of, the American Rescue Plan, fiscal recovery funds, or they have some new name for it. They came up with a new acronym. The Department of Treasury, since releasing its interim final guidance or policy on the American Rescue Plan, Carbon County is receiving just over, and I'm talking Carbon County, the government of Carbon County. This does not include the funds that will be distributed or available to the 23 other municipalities. Carbon County is receiving $12 million. So a fund, a separate account was set up to ensure there would be no commingling of funds with any other account. We actually have a couple hundred, literally a couple hundred bank accounts. That's all to ensure no commingling of funds. So we did receive the first tranche, a little over $6 million. Over the next 60 days, I'll be presenting a motion for a formal program, not dissimilar to the COVID-19 Carbon County block grant, where we distributed over $4 million. But this particular program is going to fill the gap for those entities, organizations, businesses that didn't otherwise didn't qualify for the block grant, didn't qualify for the most recent hospitality grants. So there are certain entities we know, for example, in the county block grant program, the only nonprofits that could benefit from that particular were 501c3s. Well, there's 501c2s, 1s, 4s, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's quite a few different nonprofit statuses. So we want to ensure those who might have suffered financially, economically by the pandemic have an opportunity to seek and actually get assistance. So I'd like to see a program set up similar to the block grant program but those entities that have not already received assistance. At the same time, we set up an account for the funds that would be distributed based upon the sale of the Carbon County Railroad. If you recall, about a month ago, we held the formal signing of the agreement to sell the railroad, Carbon County, to Reading Northern, Reading Blue Mountain and Northern. And then this past week, we actually did the formal, or last Thursday, we actually did the formal closing on that. So setting up that account, again, separate account, the initial $2 million that was required on closing would go into that separate account. In the beginning of August, we'll be meeting with Lansford, who assisted with the initial grant to buy the railroad, and they received 25% of the profits from the railroad. And we'll receive that from also the sale of the railroad. We'll be meeting with them to discuss how that process will take place. So it's not only 25% of the $2 million, but beyond that, as many are familiar with, over the next 8 years, the county will be receiving the equivalent of, 8 annual payments of $150,000. Plus, of course, there's a considerable amount, $1.7 million of in-kind. That's construction of pedestrian crossings, upgrades to the railroad that'll also take place. But again, we have those accounts set up. $2 million last Thursday was deposited into the account Economic Development Fund, which is the specific use of the revenue from the railroad sale. There it was, Tyra Boney wins the nomination for clerk. Great 4x8 signs that Tyra has. 5 candidates moving forward for Lehighton Area School Board also, right? Joy Beers, who's already on, Barbara Bowes, Label, Sittler, and Walt. So good luck to all 5 of you as you move towards the November election. If you're just joining me, this is Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. This is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm flying solo here tonight, but I appreciate you tuning in, taking a little bit of your time on really the eve of the 4th of July weekend to join me as I discuss carbon matters, those issues, concerns, relevant subjects that are of interest to us as both taxpayers and residents of Carbon County. Recent announcement, Lou Barletta to enter the Pennsylvania race for governor. Many of us know Lou as his time as mayor and then representative to Congress. For us, met him a couple years ago at I believe it was a Lincoln dinner. Great speaker. Enjoyed being in his presence to hear him speak. And I did invite Lou to be on Carbon Matters, looking at potentially September or October. I preferred, I think in the initial request to his staff, the week of October 17th, if I recall correctly. So we'll see if Lou can join us on Carbon Matters live streaming. I see Maggie in the background, all excited about that, having a chance to discuss illegal immigration with Lou. If you recall, that was one of his big positions. And again, it is a topic of concern and an issue for all of us law-abiding citizens. So if anyone from the staff there in Lou's campaign is watching, I look forward to hearing back from you in the short term in regards to an appearance on Carbon Matter. And that brings up November 11th. I spoke about, Memorial Day at Josiah White Park, the September 11 memorial ceremony that the county is going to host. November 11th, which is a Thursday, Mike and Sarah Wargo, who I mentioned at the beginning of our show, who are the lead for the Memorial Mile, right? And that's where will be recognizing, memorializing those veterans who have committed suicide. They'll be joining us here on Carbon Matters, along with Christine LeClaire, our VA director. So Maggie and I, plus Christine, Mike and Sarah, going to have a great conversation that evening. Mike and Sarah likely will still be in Florida, so they may be joining us virtually. Offered to Christine to be here in person or come in virtually as she likes. You know, she has 2 young kids, so I can understand if she'll just want to come in virtually versus, you know, having to leave home and leave the kids. Oh, Carbon OK study. Firm to look at cost of upgrades and repairs. So we actually have 2 of those that are kind of developing in a nascent, late and incipient stage, if I can't say. The first one is Tony from Boyle Construction is putting together and has put together a team for us to look at the mechanical, the engineering, the plumbing of the Carbon County Courthouse. It is in, the physical plant is in dire need of upgrade. Probably also need to look at how we can better allocate some of the space in the courthouse to meet our short-term space needs in the courthouse or in the county government. So that team, we had a kickoff meeting today with that team. They'll come in about 2 weeks, spend about 5 hours in the courthouse throughout, making an assessment and ultimately recommendations on what infrastructure upgrades need to be done. Now, fortunately, even understanding the likelihood that the entire HVAC system will have to be upgraded there in the courthouse, the American Rescue Plan funds could be used for that. Now, keep in mind, we still have $12 million set aside in our capital projects fund. That is debt that has occurred from the previous Board of Commissioners. Probably $4 to $5 million set aside for 44 Susquehanna and 76 Susquehanna renovations. You probably have a couple more million that will go towards the Emergency Operation Training Center, and the remaining will be going towards things such as the courthouse renovations. And another study that is going to be taking place in similar form and fashion is actually of the Jim Thorpe Area School District office. About 2 weeks ago, the Board of Commissioners notified the school district office of our interest, formal interest in the property, and our desire to conduct a physical plant property evaluation. We've already had an appraisal done, so had the school district. But again, prior to making a formal offer, we want to look at the physical plant. It has no air conditioning, for example, no central air. Check the roof. Parking is limited. Could we do something to enhance the parking? Do we need to upgrade the electrical, the plumbing? Again, before we want to make an offer, we want to have a good understanding of the condition of the building. So that'll be taking place in a few weeks. Kathleen and Shauna, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz. This is Carbon Matters live streaming. Tonight, I will not be taking phone calls at 570-503-6780, but you can use that a number any other time. I ask that you don't call between 5:30 and 7:30. That's dinner time, bath time for Molly. She goes to bed at 7:30. So we kind of set those couple hours aside. But if you do need or want to have a conversation, 570-503-6780. That's my cell phone, or you can call the office at 570-325-3611. I spoke briefly about it a week ago, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Reading and Northern and the county formally closed, signed the closing documents. Those documents are now heading down to be recorded in both Carbon and Schuylkill counties. Many people don't realize that our 19-plus-mile railroad actually runs into Schuylkill County. If you're familiar with the High Bridge and out there, right, you're going across out into Schuylkill County. Oh, a collaboration with the COG, Carbon County Council of Governments. Last Thursday, we approved, there was a motion made, and we put out for bid an auction. And the vision for this auction would be the third weekend in September. If I recall correctly, it's the 18th and 19th of September in the county lot, the northern parking zone, and where the storage shed is there. We would bring together all the excess material items that all 23 municipalities plus the county has, and put that up for auction. So the request for proposals, or the bids, was really for an auctioneer to run that for the county. Now, as it is a collaboration and partly a fundraiser for the Carbon County Council of Governments, COG members, so it's referred to as a COG, will get 95% of the net revenue. From that, the other 95%, here it goes, to the Council of Governments will get 5% of the net revenue. The municipality will get 95% if they're a COG member. If the municipality is a non-COG member, they will have 8% go to the COG, their general operating fund, and they'll retain 82% of the net revenue. And the reason I'm saying the net revenue, because out of the gross revenue, the auctioneer will take their percentage. And basically what we have asked the auctioneers to do is tell us, you know, what percentage do you want to keep and how do you plan on executing this? So public auction, September 18th, rain date is the 19th of September, 7:30 to 12 o'clock. I spoke briefly just a couple minutes ago about putting together an assessment team of the Jim Thorpe Area School District office. That's 20-some thousand square feet of office space on 2 levels plus the basement. Here it was. Jim Thorpe School District did announce their building is up for sale. I would hope that before they do a sale through a commercial realtor, they save themselves and the taxpayers some money and continue to have conversations with the county as we work through our process. Jim Thorpe parking study. Mary Ann, in regards to the Jim Thorpe parking study, a great question. Yes, we have one commissioner who's been kind of tagged with being in those meetings. What I expect to see the focus to be on in regards to certain elements of the parking study being implemented. Obviously, coming off the 903 bridge, just before the post office across from the subway where the pavement ends, I suspect that'll be priority number 1, and continue to create a walkway down there if at all possible along Lehigh Avenue. Then modification of the existing crosswalk from the county parking lot, shift that from where it is to the actual corner of the administration building. And I think the one item I've been a really big advocate for, and I'm sure we're moving forward on, is the section, what would be Lehigh Avenue South. So between the trust company and the entry to the parking lot, those perpendicular parking spots, I think there's probably about 15 of them right now. You park in perpendicular and have to back out onto 209. right? They will become parallel parking. That's going to allow us to extend the sidewalks. They will be about 5 feet in width. So basically where the existing meter posts are now that say pay by kiosk, that'll be cleared out. Those pavements will be removed because we need that for a buffer for the trains, because you're right up against the trains as you walk on those pavements. But so from the meter posts out, 5 feet will be pavement. You'll have a 6-inch curb, and then you'll have parallel parking. Unfortunately, we're going to lose about a half to 5/8 of our parking down there. I'm estimating we'll be able to fit in, it's about 130 feet, 131 if I recall correctly. We'll be able to fit in 6 parking spots for cars and maybe 3 motorcycle spots in there. So progress is being made. I know Jim Thorpe will serve as the grant requester for funds to support that. The county has agreed to match funds for any portion of the work that takes place on county property. So we are moving ahead with that. Study, dog shelter needs repairs. So that was the study. I was the proponent for that, brought that to realization, working with the Lehigh Valley Humane Society and PCOR. PCOR is the Pennsylvania County Risk Pool. Bottom line, they're our liability insurer. Some of the highest liability we have in the county, the prison was the high bridge, the animal shelter, right? Both from an insurance and legal liability area. Therefore, it was critical to bring this team in from Lehigh Valley Humane Society and from our insurance provider, broker, to assess the shelter and determine what corrections changes we had to make in order to make it safer for the animals, the workers, and patrons. And the implementation is taking place right now. Infrastructure improvements are being paving the parking lot, outdoor area for the animals. And that'll continue. That's some of the low fruit. Importantly today, if you go on Facebook, C4 Commissioner or the county Facebook page, if you check the meeting out, you'll see we passed a resolution to form up a 5-member Carbon County Animal Shelter Advisory Commission. Over the next 60 days, between now and 31 July, we will be seeking volunteers for that commission for 5 members. First and foremost, we'll make a concerted effort to seek out individuals who have expertise, animal welfare, animal canine behavior, shelter operations, business management, public relations, veterinary medicine, volunteer management, all areas that need significant work. The application, 1-page application, I suspect will be available as early as tomorrow on the commissioner's Facebook page, on the county website, and I'll push that out on social media. It had its a draft approval today. I hope to finalize it tomorrow and get that application out for those who might be interested on being on the advisory commission for the Carbon County Animal Shelter. And that's a significant part of setting up the policies and programs that will guide the animal shelter into the future. Now, as I said in the commissioners' meetings today, I saw there was a yard sale at the animal shelter. I'm embarrassed that Carbon County or the animal shelter sees a need to have a yard sale to raise money for the animal shelter. It's a government service. It should be provided with government funds. Government funds, unfortunately, are taxpayer dollars. That's how county services are paid for, right? Through raising revenue, so what you charge for the service, or taxpayers. County governments don't go out asking, begging for donations. We don't go out begging for cans of dog food, right? That's wrong. That's wrong. If more of a budget is needed, ask for it. Since 2016, I've been following the county budget, and in the last 2 years, been deeply involved in seeing it brought to fruition, realization. I have not seen anything for the animal shelter budget-wise denied. To include recent full-time hire, creation of a full-time position hire, same with another multiple part-time positions up there. But again, Tom's doing a great job up there. He's definitely animal-centric, but again, care for the animals is only one aspect of an effective, efficient, and safe shelter. And guess what? I'm going to tell you, we're not there. We have a lot of improvements that need to be made. You know, fortunately, there is a trust that has been left behind, and the interest to that does help offset some of the cost of the taxpayers. But I do not believe county residents should feel they have to donate to take care of those animals. You heard it. You may not like where I stand, but you know where I stand. All right. Commissioners want more staffing for maintenance. We're adding an additional building, right? 44 Susquehanna Street, potentially looking at acquiring the Jim Thorpe Area School District office. It has to be maintained. It has to be cleaned. We're already, I would argue, in maintenance. We're just keeping our heads above water. There's no way the current crew we have could maintain one additional building, nor if we go to an additional, the district office building. And again, I do have the numbers associated with 44, what it would cost to maintain it for a year. And I've already done the analysis of how much it'll cost to maintain the school district office using Jim Thorpe numbers, but nonetheless, we do have a ballpark figure. So it's not like we're just diving into the pool head first without first ensuring we know what's underneath the water. So I at least have some numbers on the maintenance costs so that can be budgeted in. Blessing of Bikes held in Gilbert. Was not able to attend that, but great to see that. But I don't think that's the article I wanted to highlight here on Carbon Matters live streaming. But nonetheless, you know, out there at Gilbert is also, they normally do a motorcycle ride once a year, also in support of Valor Clinic. So that's probably, that caught my eye. But also Carbon County distributes all its CHIRP funding. That was the hospitality industry COVID funding. Kudos to Kathy Henderson at the Carbon Chamber, who ran that program for us. You might recognize Kathy's name also because she led one of the subgroups for the Carbon County COVID-19 County Block Grant. So she ran that hospitality grant program. The funds provided COVID relief through the county. We had our economic development LLC here in Carbon County manage that for us. So thank you so much, Kathy. Carbon works on homeless funds, and there we're talking about really two things. The emergency rental assistance program that runs through the end of July. So if you are someone, you know someone who's a Carbon County resident or a landlord who owns property in Carbon County, you have a tenants or you are one who have arrears in utilities or rent dating back to March of last year. There is help available. Carbon County is $4.22 million. We've probably only distributed or allocated right now, have a portion, about 500,000. So the good news is maybe we don't have that many people who are in utilities or rent arrears. The bad news could be is there's a lot more out there than they just don't know about this program. but we've doing everything possible to bring the program to the forefront. That's the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. You can Google Allentown Diocese Catholic Charities, add ERAP to that, Emergency Rental Assistance Program. There is a link there. That'll get you to them. Mary Ann, it may have been the volunteers that wanted to do it as a good deed. Hold on, what's that one? Also, you're almost on that monitor. Put into a county general. No, Mary Ann, the revenue donations, I can only tell you for the last 16 months, and I know the treasurer, donations that come into the shelter are dedicated to the shelter. But again, I don't think residents should have to donate. All right. The rent program helping Carbon County families, that's a reiteration of the ERAP program. We are also helping Family Promise continue to move forward on their property in Nesquehoning, which would also provide a shelter for homeless single women. They continue to work towards that. Yeah, Mary Ann, again, though, until we get the advice, and I'm jumping onto the shelter again, until we get that advisory commission set up and develop good policies, standard operating procedures in all areas, be it in public relations, adoption, care, maintenance, until all those standard operating procedures and policies are developed, until we create internal audit controls, we're going to continue to have problems and challenges, and people are going to continue to question how it is being run or managed. And again, frankly, it's not being run or managed well. That's why I'm a believer in a public-private partnership. That is, it continues to fall under the ultimate authority and responsibility of the Carbon County Board of Commissioners, but day-to-day operations are managed by a nonprofit. We continue to provide a portion of the resources. The trust that is there continues to be utilized for that shelter as is required by law. But Carbon County, the commissioners are not running that shelter, but rather, nor is the county really. It is our ultimate responsibility. We need one in Carbon County, but I believe in a public-private partnership. I want to talk, there was the Emergency Rental Assistance Program in all its glory. Make sure it was 4.22 million. Oh, Carbon County, hold on. Let me just check this out. Carbon County Emergency Rental Assistance Program, $4,221,269.62. And we got, probably 85% of that still available. Recently, we had done a conservation finance feasibility study. That was done as a collaboration between the Trust for Public Land, the Wildlife Conservancy, and the Wildlands Conservancy and the Nature Conservancy. And that was to help the county identify open space that we should be working towards protecting. And Rocky Wayne and I, about a year ago, and it was really based on a push that I had with Mr. Fetter and Ag Land Preservation to find additional funding for the Ag Land Preservation Program, but wanted to go further. We know the return on environment study demonstrated the clear value of our natural environment to include our open spaces. And open spaces is really under or undeveloped spaces. But in order to protect that, you have to buy easements or buy the property outright. And that is what we're moving towards, looking for the funding. What's going to happen, this study is done. We met with the Wildlands, the trust, and they're going to conduct, at no charge to the county, an opinion survey to kind of get a sense of where the community feels they are in regards to supporting a bond issue, a debt bond issue that is focused on providing funding to secure more easements, protect more open space in Carbon County. For example, if we took out a $10 million bond, now this would be by ballot measure. That is, again, it would go on the ballot, 51% of the population vote for it. The county then would be authorized to acquire $10 million in debt over a period of time to be used for land easement rights or to purchase it outright. For example, maybe to expand Mock Chunk Lake Park on contiguous property. I can see that happening, the actual referendum, as early as next spring. The opinion survey, the public opinion survey, will probably be within the next 30 to 60 days before, and that'll be going out. So again, critically important to protect our ridge lines, protect our open spaces, protect our agricultural property, and that's through the Trust for Public Land. Talked about the animal shelter, talked about the Trust for Public Land in the last couple minutes. I'm going to make mention, and this is about the last minute. Good. I want to reiterate before I finish up, happy anniversary to Mary Ann and Larry. I want to talk about Senate Bill 664. Senate Bill 664 would give children, general education and special education, an opportunity for a redo year, right? It's an extra year of school, even if, for example, special education students were turning or were 21 and they'd normally at that time finish up schooling, they could do another year of school. Likewise, students could go ahead and elect to do an additional year of school. So basically stay in the year that they were in last year during the majority of the pandemic time to make up for that lost education. That has been Senate Bill 664. Senate approved it. There was only one no vote. The House passed it unanimously, went back to the Senate for amendment, and I believe it was unanimous. It was on the governor's desk since the 28th. So again, parents, if you're interested in this, write the governor. I expect he's going to sign it, though. I could see no reason, unless the teacher unions for some reason are up in arms. He will sign Senate Bill 664, which basically gives students a redo year should they or their parents want them to do that. Well, I'm Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. We're going to take a little bit of time off in the summer, probably July and August. We will not have a Carbon Matters live streaming. I will late in July and in August do a couple meetings after the meetings, which are immediately following the select commissioners meetings. But I'll continue to keep you updated on Carbon Matters via C4 Commissioner Facebook page. And then I want to finish with one last thing. As many know, I am the tip of the spear. I am the lead advocate and proponent for a government study commission to assess and evaluate the existing form of county government, which is the county code of form of county government, which has 3 county commissioners responsible for county government. I believe in home rule. Home rule provides notable advantages over county code of form of county government. It's primarily giving counties the opportunity to create their own charter or constitution and to do and implement positions, policies that are not otherwise limited by law or the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or any existing laws. So I'll be pushing heavily for home rule on the 4th of July. You'll be able to go to carbonforhomerule.org, the website. We'll be building a blog there to discuss matters specific to home rule. If you're interested in home rule, I would highly encourage you to go to carbon4, and that's number 4 for home rule.org, carbon number 4 home rule.org, starting on the 4th of July, where you can learn much more about home rule. You could also look at the videos on C4 Commissioner, my great, interesting conversation with Joe Stearns, director of Schuylkill PAC, which is also committed to home rule. Keep in mind, Lehigh, Luzerne, Northampton. So 3 of our neighbors already have home rules. Schuylkill has an initiative moving forward. So there are examples of it right in our neighborhood. I have on carbonforhomerule.org all the charters from all the existing, if I recall, it's 7 counties right now of 67. I have all their charters, so you can review their county charters to kind of get an idea of the benefits of home rule. And I'll be advocating and talking to you about those in the coming 18 to 24 months. So again, happy 4th of July to everyone. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Recognize the 4th of July. On 2 July was the vote for independence, right? 2 July, the draft. They approved the draft, made some modifications. The final version of the Declaration of Independence voted on the 4th of July. And then in August, by August, the beginning of August is when it was actually signed. Also bear in mind, right, you had 13 colonies, 12 voted for independence, 1 did not, right? But they didn't vote no. That would be New York, right? They abstained from the vote, right? Awaiting further instructions from the leadership in the colony of New York. Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz, happy 4th of July. Thank you so much for joining me.